So something has been on my mind recently as of the past 6 months. So since I turned 25, I've been thinking about like my relationship to men, the patriarchy, what it means to be a woman, what it's like to be a girl, and what it's like to be a woman. I've just been, a lot of things have been making sense. That's what it is. A lot of things have been clicking. Like when I was a young child and a young girl, I was experiencing things, but I could not verbalize them. I could not really find the vote because I didn't know what it was per se. And things like the patriarchy and societal conditioning, they're kind of, even though they're very rigid in what you can do in them, they're very I don't know why I want to say abrupt, not abrupt. They're very broad constructs in the same sense. So I didn't know how to take the experiences I was having and define what it was because I didn't exactly know what it was. But now that I'm 25 and that frontal lobe has really developed, I can clearly see what the patriarchy is, how it oppresses women, how it oppresses men, and how it perpetuates itself. Like it's a self-sustaining thing. And that's what I mean when I say like the social constructs like patriarchy and like racism and class is broad because it's all encompassing and it's not a specific force, but it's kind of like these ideas and morals that we take on and we continue to just perpetuate them through generations and through cycles, and we don't stop to question our behavior until we're so far out of it that we're not even a part of the game anymore. So like when I say that, I mean like older people, a lot of times older men and women, they reflect on the stigmas and the shit they was perpetuating as a youth, but by the time they reflect and like learn better, they're dead, or they're about to die, or they're bedridden, or like they're in the house all day. They're not even communicating with the general population anymore. So it's like by the time the lesson is learned, it's not learned in a way to recycle back into the system that's perpetuating it. It's kind of just off to the next round of contestants, the youth, to do it again. So one example, something I noticed specifically that is kind of what I'm talking about is like, okay, I'm 25. So I noticed as I started going to clubs and stuff around older people, because before 24 I was kind of around people my age, college situations, stuff like that. So this was my first time like being an adult in an environment with other adults who are older than me, and in a social environment. And I noticed quickly that a lot of older women were viewing me as competition. Now, to me, I believed I was out of the range anyway. So when I say that, like, I believe that because of my age and because of the fact that I'm still like a young woman, like I'm not competition anyway, because like I'm a girl. Basically what I'm saying is I'm still looking at myself like a girl. So I'm not looking at myself as competition to these grown women because they're grown women. Even if, despite attractiveness and all that other shit, I'm just off of maturity and definition, they're a woman. I'm still, so I just didn't see myself as competition in that way. But I started to notice that they were treating me as such. Like they were treating me like I was an equal. Like we were on the same playing field. And that really confused me because I know as a younger individual, there are lessons I have to learn and there's these games I still have to play that I haven't been taught the rules yet, and you do. So it's like, why are you looking at me like we're on the same playing field? You got 10, even as little as 5 years. 5 years is a big chunk of time. You have 5, 7, 8, 10 years on me. Like you can really run circles around me, like if you want to. Or which if I was you, I would. But whatever. But I just couldn't understand why they were looking at me, like looking at us as equals, because you're older. Like I'm supposed to be looking to you to be a woman. You know, essentially that's what we all do. We all look to older people to guide how we should act and who we should become, despite who you are. Everybody is influenced. So as a young woman, I'm coming into this space attempting to learn from older women, and they're treating me like we're competition and we're on the same playing field. Now that's again confusing me because I'm new in the game, coach. But what I realized is that older women treat younger women like competition because men prey on younger women. It's no better way for me to put it. It's no easier way for me to put it. It's actually really disgusting. And I was thinking about this on my way home because I have a whole nother spin-off about how really perverted the patriarchy is. It's very perverted. But because men their age, older women, and when I say older, I'm 25, so I'm talking about like 29, 30. I'm talking about 29 to like late 30s. I'm not even talking about grandma. I'm talking about an adult. So because men their age are looking at me and women younger than me as targets of conquest, we are now in this game of competition with these grown adult women that we should not be in. Because truthfully, these men should not be interested in us. And it's like, we all know this. But everybody, you know, and the thing, like, everybody knows. I hate when it's like everybody knows something is wrong, but we all just keep like ignoring it. And then wondering why this is going on and that's going on and that. All the shit stem from very few places. But it's like instead of getting to the root of the problem, we all want to nitpick about the black man, the black women, and single moms and deadbeat daddies and all. But it all stemmed from, again, very few places. It all come back down to one issue. But when a person brings the issue up, don't nobody want to talk about it. And that's what's kind of frustrating, because it's like y'all don't really want to have a conversation about change. Y'all just want to voice your frustrations, which is fine, but don't act like you are committed to something or like you're not. You're just complaining. That's fine. I'm complaining right now too, but I can do that. Anyways, so because these men look at younger women as grown women, now grown women who still want to have a relationship with a man, which is nothing is wrong with that, despite how much I hate men and how much, you know, all of the rhetoric around men is and men being terrible is true, because everything I'm finna say is about how men are terrible. So it is true, but there is a biological, like, we have a biology to us that I think sometimes we try to intellectualize away. There biologically, some people want to have sex with the opposite sex. There's nothing wrong with that. Biologically, a woman sometimes wants to be with a man and a man wants to be with a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like sometimes you have to pee. That's a biological thing. It's not a problem. And sometimes we try to intellectualize biology, and it's like, sometimes you're going to be stupid. Like, I don't know. So, you know, so it's nothing wrong with wanting to be with a man, but because these women still want to have relationships with these men, but now these men who are their age are chasing younger women, it's putting them in competition with younger women. It's not necessarily that they want to be in competition with younger women, but men have this. I'm really starting to understand when people say men and women think differently, because men really have this war-like mentality where it's like everything is a competition, and that's not how women. I really believe women have been socialized to be masculine, because you have to be masculine in this world, in this day and age. It's a man's world, so you kind of do have to be more masculine. Even the uber feminine women that you see, I'm not talking about appearance, I'm talking about a mentality. Even the super uber feminine girls you see, they are kind of hyper masculine, because you have to think like a man. That's why that shit even became a whole brand, because it's true. You have to think this a man's world. So if you're playing and living in a man's world, then you kind of do have to think like a man to succeed. I mean, in a man's world, not in your personal world, but in a man's world, you do have to think masculine. That's just how it goes. But I kind of lost my point there. Oh, I do feel like women have been socialized to be more competitive, because I really don't think that's in our nature. Like, we have competitiveness in a different way. We are like, everything a man does, a woman does do, but it's different. It's in a completely different type of arena. So it's like, you can compare the two genders, but the psychology of how we do things is completely different. The way a woman competes with a woman is different from how a man competes with a man. It's not the same. So this competitive nature of older women competing with younger women competing with older women, that's actually very, like, wrong for girls. For women and girls, the way we win and we grow is coming together and informing each other and embracing each other. The way men come together is through hurting each other. They feel like the more they hurt each other, the more the bond is stronger, which is why they like toxic relationships. They like toxic friendships. They don't care with their friends, because it's not about that. It's about, yeah. So I the way the patriarchy kind of like intersects into women's relationships and the dynamics we have with each other is a part of why it works. Is because we go from looking at each other like sisters and daughters and nieces and aunts and grandmothers to looking at each other like competition. It was some women who I felt like should be embracing me, and I've always felt that way in my life. I felt like my whole life I've always looked to older women around me to lead me, and that is a natural thing to do, especially as a child. So I do not feel bad for saying this. I used to feel guilty when I was younger for feeling this way, but that's life. What do you mean? I'm a child. I'm here. The people around me are my guides, but I remember feeling like I had no real guidance of being a woman and femininity. Like, I've had guidance in other aspects of life. I'm not denying that. But as far as like what being a woman means, I've never had that. I've never had that conversation. I've never even really, even in my own friend groups, we've never really sat and like talked about what it means to be a woman. Even in my own relationships, we bond over superficial shit. So that's what I'm saying. Everything in male friendships and relationships, it reflects in women's. Everybody loves saying men don't know anything about their friends. Their friends could be divorced, married, dead. They don't know anything about them. They just love football. But it's like, how many of your homegirls do you just talk about baddies with? Or you just talk about the new New York fashion with? Or you just talk about... So women bond superficially on the same level. I've had friendships and I've had guides show me certain things, but friendships and guides talking about womanhood, no. And I know when we lost that. We lost that when they burnt down those temples. When they burnt down those all women temples where no men could enter, that's when we lost it. That's when we lost it, because there were certain things that... And men are so divisive too, because they've gotten us to tell on ourselves. There were certain secrets women kept, and women don't keep each other's secrets anymore. I was talking about that with a man, and he was saying like, because I was saying men have this code, and they do. Men have this code, and this code they follow goes above everything else. It goes above gender. It goes above, I mean, not gender, I'm sorry, I meant race. It goes above race. It goes above class. It goes above even just family. Like, men have this code of ethics where they will not betray another man no matter what he does. And it's sick. It's sick because that means that you're okay with him being a rapist or an abuser or a terrible person or fill in the blank. You're okay with it because you'll never tell on that man. And they all do this. This is where the cheating culture comes from. Men don't have to cheat. Men want to cheat. Women are not these, like, and that's what I'm saying. The patriarchy, I'm going to have to make a part 2 because I have so much to talk about. Because the patriarchy it's like intersected the minds. It's not about what men and women are doing. It's about the fucking control that, like, men are crazy. They run around this bitch like overgrown toddlers, and women are running around here like overgrown toddlers too because of this. But men, they will, I forgot what I was going to say. I do remember this part though. Women used to have secrets. There used to be a code of honor. There used to be things that women didn't say. There used to be things that women kept to themselves. So that's where I was going. Men still have this level of secrecy amongst themselves, whereas they know they just won't tell women certain things. They won't. And even if you think a man is telling you everything, most times the men who really start to tell you everything, they're older men. That, like I said in the beginning of the video, they're out the game. And they're really out the game. And because they're really out the game, now they can put their hands up and say, actually, yeah, this is what we were doing. You know, and it's not right because now they're out the game. But like I said before, you know, they usually wait until they're out and the damage is done and the family's ruined and the heart's broken and the home is fucked up to be like, yeah, I was being a selfish asshole. You know, and it's all this fucking, I don't know, like, it's just irritating. But they've gotten us to tell on each other. It's really like a slave thing. I've been thinking of this in the same way I think of slavery. And I think that would help a lot of black people specifically understand just how deep the shit go. Because it's like, okay, we talk about how slavery made us still beat our kids to this day, right? Because of years of epigenetic DNA trauma passed on, years down the line, generations down the line. We're beating our kids because of that. So think about patriarchy and men putting their fucking thumb not only over women but over each other. Like, they're crazy. They're crazy. But the same way, it's just been generation after generation after generation of women being beaten and abused. You know, there's a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers, and it's a lot of, it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it can't be condensed into one video, and it can't be condensed into one topic or subject. It's so many different things. But I'm gonna end it by saying that I'm gonna have to talk about this again. But men have to be stopped.